My name is Ruth Freeman, and for the last 10 years I've been working at the Myton Hospices. We cover Coventry and Warwickshire. For the first 8.5 years at Myton, I was Director of Income Generation and Marketing, and for the last 18 months my job has been Chief Executive. My role today is very clear and hopefully very straightforward. I'm here to introduce the speakers, read out the awards, very exciting, especially for the winners, and generally keep things on track, which I promise I'll try and do. There's a very exciting programme today, and I'm sure you're going to go away with loads of ideas about how to take your retail to the next level. That's certainly what I'm hoping we can do today. But of course, today is also a great opportunity for you to network. So please take those opportunities during lunch and over the breaks, just to share ideas. I think probably everybody in this room will be grappling with something. And when you're grappling with something, it's very good to talk to somebody who's grappled with it before and share their experiences, because it will save you pain. So do take the opportunity to do that. When I was thinking about the title of today's conference, Hospice Retail, Reinvention or Revolution, I started to think about the journey that Myton is and has been on. And I think it's fair to say, and my team that are sitting over there will probably agree with me, that we have never taken a revolutionary approach to our retail at Myton. In fact, I would say we've been on a constant path of reinvention, because we keep changing our mind, if I'm totally honest. We have lots of ideas. We try lots of different things. We've opened new shops, but we've not persevered with anything. And that's because we haven't really got a vision. So if something goes wrong, we just change direction. We reinvent ourselves a little bit, I suppose, is the truth. Which means that those bigger underlying problems that are stopping us achieving that greater success are still there, because we're not persevering and we haven't got the confidence to do it. But then towards the end of 2015, we had a bit of an epiphany, brought on by a nudge from the board, as these things usually are, who pointed out to us that despite some of the investment they'd already agreed, our retail income was not going in the right direction. And to be fair, we already knew that. And we were busy reinventing ourselves and thinking around the edges and trying to think about what can we do now? Let's do something different again. And then we thought, wait a minute, we can't keep doing this. We've got to do something a bit more radical than that. And that was when we met retail consultant Rob Green. And Rob's here today. Hello, Rob. Don't try and hide. And what Rob did was Rob came in and he looked at what we were doing and what we weren't doing, and he looked at what other hospices were doing and what they weren't doing, and other charity retailers. And what Rob did for us was he presented to us the picture of where we could be, what Myton could achieve, the vision that we could have. And he was really excited about that. And because he was so excited about that, that rubbed off on us. And I suppose it was at that point that the Myton retail revolution began. And when I'm talking revolution, certainly in Myton terms, I'm not talking about massive stuff. Other people might say, well, that's not very, very revolutionary. But revolutionary for us was actually believing we could do it, that we could actually get to be one of those great professional charity retailers. Revolution for us was introducing an EPOS system and turning our chaotic warehouse, because it was, into a streamlined distribution centre. Revolution for us, and perhaps this was the biggest thing, was that we had to move on those people who didn't share our vision. We have some fantastic staff and volunteers at Myton, but there is a hardened core, particularly of volunteers, if I'm totally honest, who love Myton to bits, and they don't see why it should change. And that is a real revolutionary thing for us, because we have either got to convert them or we've got to move them on. And it's not just revolutionary for us, that's revolutionary for the board as well. And so that's a big step for us. We've been revolutionary, and in thinking about we're bringing in the right people. We're going to have to pay to get the right level of expertise if we're going to take our retail to the next level. But perhaps the biggest revolution of all for us is that those that are leading this, like me and the board and the senior managers at Myton, have to demonstrate that we are passionate about retail, that we believe in it in the way that we've shown with other areas of our income generation. So I think it's true to say that Myton is on a journey. We've just started, and I'm hoping that perhaps in the future at one of these conferences I'll be able to come and tell you how successful we've been. Just a plea from me, if there are people in the room who are on a similar journey or are ahead of us on the journey, please seek me out today because I'd be really interested to talk to you so that we can share experiences. So that's all for me for a little while. There are a couple of other people who want to wish you a warm welcome this morning. The first is Tracey Bleakley, and I'm sure most of you will know Tracey. She is the CEO at Hospice UK. Prior to that, Tracey was the CEO of the Police and Crime Commissioners Association. This is her first retail conference, I'm told, and I'm also told by her team that she has an extensive wardrobe and a penchant for shopping. So she's a charity retailer's dream. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Tracey Bleakley.
Thank you, Ruth. Well, it's certainly true about the shopping. I can't visit a charity retail store or even particularly a hospice shop without spending some money. I have furniture, I have bits and pieces in my garden, I have clothes, I have oven gloves, I have all sorts. So please do invite me along and trust me, I'll be helping to donate. Hospice retail controls about a fifth of the sector with 2,500 stores. And whenever I go and see other charity chief execs, they always say to me, how do you do it? How do you make so much profit? What's the secret? So I'm quite looking forward to finding out today, so I can tell them. And one of the lovely things about being here is that hospices share so much, and it's not just the good stuff as well, it's the things that went wrong. We're all quite happy to admit when things went wrong and how we solved our problems as well. And that's what makes today's event and events like this so useful. In terms of hospice shops, they're absolutely critical. Profits that are raised around £55 million a year, and that represents 10% of hospice income. And we know that there are so many pressures on fundraising income, but there are so many opportunities as well. And that's why I'm really looking forward to the agenda today. One of the things that strikes me when I go around and visit hospices and go into hospice shops and retail organisations is the fact that it's not just about the income. There are so many other social benefits as well. And whether that's about helping people into work who are disadvantaged by society or helping people to build careers in retail, or whether it's helping young people to furnish their first flat in an affordable way, or helping people who are struggling a little bit to clothe their children and their family. It's a real community, and the volunteers as well bring so much to hospice shops. There's so many delegates here today and so many exhibitors, and I'd just like to say thank you to our sponsors. So we have our loyal partners, Cybertil, eProductive and Kudos, and I'd really like to extend a warm welcome this year to first-time sponsors, Waste Management and L Media Group. I'd like to now introduce Robin Osterley from the Charity Retail Association. Robin's been in post about as long as I have, 18 months, and during that time we've been working together to find out how we can bring more of that expertise together and share that with more of you. So without further ado, here's Robin.
Thank you very much, Tracey, and thank you, Ruth, and good morning. It's really nice to be here. I promised last year when I spoke at the equivalent event that CRA was not going to maintain its reputation of being in a bit of a bubble. And I think we've done that over the last year or so. I think we've really opened, spread our wings, we've opened out, we've made lots and lots of new partnerships, and our partnership with Hospice UK is incredibly valuable to us. And I'll tell you why, and I have a piece of technology to help me with that. We think that actually probably your proportion of shops in the sector is a little bit higher, but this is a very difficult figure to establish because nobody really knows how many charity shops there are out there. But we think you probably have something in the region of, the hospice movement in other words, has something in the region of 25% of the charity shops that are out there, but that generates 30% of the profit. Okay, so it is a really, really significant sector. We also think, well, we also know that about 38% of CRA's members are hospices. And that's a very, very significant chunk of our membership, obviously. And we reckon that represents about 75% of the hospices that are out there. So the message I'm trying to give with these stats, and there's plenty more where they came from, as I'm sure you can imagine, but the message I'm trying to give is that this is a hugely important part of CRA's membership, and consequently the work that we do with Hospice UK is really important for us. In fact, of my fellow board members, of the 14 other board members on CRA's board, 5 of them actually are hospices. So, like I say, really important part of what we do. So what do we do? Well, one of the most important things that we've done recently has been, last week we launched a new strategic plan. It's a very typical thing, isn't it? New chief executive comes in, let's have a new strategic plan. But we spent quite a lot of time researching that, working with our members, including lots and lots of hospices, to establish what that is. And as a result of that, we've divided our activities really into 5. Lobbying and advocacy, of which we've done a tremendous amount recently. Particularly, we've been working really hard in Northern Ireland over the threat to remove business rate relief in Northern Ireland, which is very significant. So lobbying and advocacy, research, which underpins all of that. We offer our members opportunities to meet, so an enormous amount of networking goes on. We run 6 special interest groups and a load of regional meetings, and a meeting in Scotland, a meeting in Northern Ireland, a meeting in Wales. We do basic member services, providing a huge amount of advice and guidance, providing primary authority facilities for all of our members, particularly the smaller ones who don't necessarily have them themselves, so they can work with local authorities directly through one local authority. And finally training. And we're over the next coming few years, we're increasing our training activities so that, again, particularly small members, our smaller members who do not necessarily have access to large training facilities, will be able to take advantage of CRA's work. So, new strategic plan, very important. And the only other thing I wanted to say was just wanted to pick up on what Tracey had said about the social impact of charity retail, and to add to her comprehensive list of the social benefits, we also need to add in environmental benefits. There's a fantastic, we think that something in the region of 330,000 tonnes of textiles are kept out of landfill by the charity retail sector every year, which is an enormously important part. And to underpin all of that, we are about to release a second version of the major Demos report that we did 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now, in 2013. This was a report specifically into the social impacts of charity retail, looking specifically at the non-financial contribution that charity retail makes to society and to the environment. And that report has been refreshed and is going to be released over the next coming couple of months. We were going to do a parliamentary launch of it. No such luck, unfortunately. Parliament no longer exists, or at least doesn't as of Thursday, I think it is. Well, it is today. And consequently, our parliamentary launch efforts have been scuppered. But we'll launch it somehow, and we will do that over the next couple of months. So watch out for that. All of these documents are obviously available on the CRO website and will be filtered through Hospice UK's communications as well. So that's it from me. Just remains for me to wish you a really great conference. It looks like a fascinating and interesting day. I should be here for the whole day. There's a couple of other CRA board members here as well, if anyone wants to have a chat to us. And do have a great day. Thank you very much.